Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane. One thing that we can promise is that our conversation will be less than fascinating so that you can feel free to just relax, lay back, and drift off. I want to thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I'm your co-host, Nidhi Khanna.
And Nidhi, this brings to the end of the week of shows we just aired.
I know. We're back at it with a Insomnia Project bang, I guess.
So it brings us to the weekend. What things do you like to do on your weekend?
That's a good question, Marco. I'm someone who enjoys my weekend very much in terms of being able to catch up on some sleep.
Okay. Do you find you sleep in on the Saturday morning? Do you get to sleep in, or does it take you until Sunday to really be able to sleep in?
No, I tend to sleep in on the Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, I tend to sleep in on the Saturday, and then I try and use Saturday as sort of my day to do all the things that I want to do.
Okay.
So my fun day, and then Sunday's kind of like the errand day.
What does your fun Saturday look like?
Well, this past Sunday, for example, I went back to the banya, which I had...
Saturday, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Saturday, sorry. I went back to the banya, which I think we've spoken about.
Right.
So that was really, really nice.
And that's, if I'm not mistaken, a type of spa where you really get to enjoy yourself, and there's different, what would you call them, like temperatured waters and areas to be in?
Saunas,
Okay.
essentially. So that was a lot of fun. And then I tend to go for a walk, spend some time with my dog.
Nice.
Yeah, enjoy some good food and drink and all of that.
Where do you walk generally? In a park or just around the neighborhood?
It depends, actually. If it's warm enough that I can take my dog with me, then I'll go to like an off-leash area or something in the park.
Oh, cool.
Otherwise, walking down the street, grabbing a coffee, going for a run, something for me.
Right.
Just taking it easy overall.
Sure.
I haven't been reading that much.
Okay.
And I know we talked about my mystery novel fascination.
Right. Are you back into a mystery novel,
I
or are you
am.
getting into a different one?
No, I'm back into a mystery novel.
Good.
So I'm reading
And
again.
my fascinations with libraries. We've had episodes on that in the past.
Exactly.
I picked up a book by mistake from the library.
Oh.
In that I wanted one book. And one of the things I love about our library, Nidhi, do you use the Toronto Public Library?
I do every so often, yeah.
I can't speak highly enough about our library system. And you know me, I'm critical about just everything. But what I love about the Toronto library system is you can, and I'm sure there's other library systems in the world that have this. So if yours does, great. If not, let them know that you want this kind of system. I go online. I type in the book search that I want.
Mm-hmm.
The book will come up, and then I hit reserve. It asks me which branch I want. And there's a branch about 3-minute walk from my house. So the Davenport branch, it's a small little library branch, and I love it. The book will get sent there.
Oh, yes, I know about this. This is great.
But if you don't pick up the book that gets there, you get charged $1 fine.
Yes.
Fair enough. You've got a few days to pick it up once it arrives. But you can also make your orders inactive. So let's say you have to travel, you can't pick one up, you have too many books coming in, you can hit a button that will make that particular book inactive. So that happened to me. I went to Florida. The book that I wanted didn't come in. I made it inactive. Came back from Florida, a week in Florida, and I went back to get the book that I wanted to make it active again. Don't I make the wrong book active? I make a book that I guess I hadn't picked up in many, many months active. So I pick up this book, and I'm like, oh, this author's name is not the author I was anticipating, because I want to do something that requires a prerequisite reading of a different author.
Mm-hmm.
So I start reading, and I'm like, this really doesn't have anything to do with this online thing I'm going to be doing. So I go back to look, and I realize I've made active a book that I didn't necessarily want.
Did you start reading it
I'm done
anyway?
halfway through, Nidhi.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm quite enjoying it, and it's a quick read. I have made the book that I need active. It should be in this week.
And sorry, what was the book again that you received that you're halfway through?
It's called The Big Leap.
Oh, okay.
You've probably seen the cover of it. So it's a little goldfish jumping from a small bowl into a large bowl.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. And the other book, I can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of like a half smile on the book. Like
Okay.
the book is like kind of has I don't know how else to describe it.
So, Marco, let me ask you this. How is a Saturday different from a Sunday for you?
Oh, that's a great question. So Saturdays, I love that you make Saturdays your day, and then Sunday's the day of errands for you. I kind of break that up in the weekend, so part of one and part of the other on both days. But Saturdays generally are the day that I like to do something very enjoyable, like going to brunch, going to see a movie perhaps, hanging out with friends, possibly recording a podcast. And Sundays is the day that I start to like get ready for the week, and I'll do laundry. It's generally my laundry day.
Yes, and in fact, while we're recording, I have laundry going downstairs.
What do you use? Fabric softener?
I use like the softener sheets.
The sheets.
Yeah, I do.
And do you have a preferred type of detergent you like to use? Or do you like to use those little, those little pucks that you can throw in?
Oh, no, I don't use the pucks. I use a liquid.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a specific one you use?
We use a non-fragrance one. Amanda has some allergies and whatnot. Although she can work with Tide. So even
Okay.
if Tide, I guess its original scent is fine.
It's fine.
But anything else. So we generally try to use fragrance-free or the all-natural kind of detergents. I like to put in fabric softener. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll separate my clothes and I'll put the liquid fabric softener, and sometimes the sheet as well, the bounce sheet or whatever the
Sure.
fabric sheet, softener sheet is that we have, because sometimes we'll just get a generic brand. And that's my preference.
So does anyone ever use starch anymore to like starch a shirt?
I used to when I would iron.
Yeah.
I would use the starch for the collar. So I'll spray a little starch on the collar and get a really nice stiff collar, which I do like. But the little nozzle part on the on these aerosol cans?
Yeah.
It fell out and I can't find it. So I've got this starch can without the aerosol nozzle to
I
spray
think
it.
there's like a life hack. I know we were talking about that
really?
last time. Yeah, there's a life hack for that, I think, if I remember correctly.
The only thing with starching your shirts is when you use an aerosol, some of it will fall into the atmosphere and onto the ground, and it'll make that area of where I'm ironing very slippery afterwards.
Okay,
So
that's problematic.
it can be, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a warning. If you're going to use an aerosol starch on a hardwood floor, because it's on my hardwood floors, be careful because it'll make that area slippery.
Fair enough.
Are you a good ironer? That's a hard word to say.
Oh, good question. I'm okay. My mom is really good at ironing.
I think a lot of moms are.
Yeah, I don't know how she gets like the creases.
Let me ask you this. Where do you start when you iron a shirt?
Oh, good question. I usually start on the long end of the shirt. You know what I mean?
The back?
The front.
Oh, see, and I start with the back first. I leave the long end. So you mean like you know how the shirt divides
Like the button, yeah.
your sort of front in half, right?
Yeah.
So you do the button side first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I usually move over to taking the shirt and kind of, you know how you put it at the end of the ironing board to do the shoulders?
Yes.
I do that and then move towards the back.
So you'll do the front parts first, then the back, then the sleeves?
I think I do the sleeves last.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And when do you do the collar?
Oh, good point. Maybe I do the collar last.
Okay.
I don't know.
I usually do.
I don't do shirts that often.
Okay. I have to do that's
Right.
primarily what I iron is my shirts, right? So it's back, front,
Okay.
sleeves, collar, and then I'll ensure that the front part that leads to the collar doesn't get wrinkled in between doing the other parts. Do you see what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you do that, I start with the back, because if the back gets a little crinkled while I'm ironing the rest, it's not as important to me as ensuring that the front is pressed well.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. But that's why for the shoulders, you kind of just sliver it onto the...
Right, no, I get that.
Okay,
yeah, I do that too at some point. I can't
remember when.
I think I redo that at the end as well, just to make sure they're done.
Marco, it's funny we were talking about the weekend today, because today, one of the fun things that I did was take a singing lesson for the first time.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, first of all, what inspired you to take a singing lesson?
It's always been something that I've wanted to do, and I never, I love singing, but I have no concept of whether or not I'm singing well or notes or any of that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do some singing lessons.
How wonderful is that? And how did it go?
It went really well. It went really well. It was really fun. I didn't think I would be as interested in musical theory.
Oh, so you're learning musical theory as well.
Well, part of it is there, right? Like, she did a really great job at making it very accessible to what we were doing at any moment. So only really telling me what I need to know, so it didn't feel overwhelming on the theory side.
Did anything you learned today surprise you in that you didn't know prior to taking this lesson?
Yeah, Lindsay was saying that she thought that I had a really great voice.
Oh, congratulations.
So that made me very happy.
Perhaps we can have Lindsay on an episode and talk about, the parts of the voice that you use to sing with and whatnot. And,
absolutely.
And that'd be really fascinating. And like what makes one sing well versus not as well and all that.
Absolutely. We should absolutely make that happen.
What a great thing to do on a Sunday is take a class like that, a fun class for yourself.
Right?
Is there any other class that you're like, I'd love to take this class just out of fun?
I'd love to take like a cooking class or learn like a special dish of some kind, or have a little bit more formal understanding of how ingredients go together, because I tend to be very instinctual on whether or not things would work a certain way.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I know, but still. How about you?
Sounds like you're a confident cook.
A confident cook?
Yeah.
When I'm on my own, yeah, but when I'm cooking for other people, I'm less confident.
I would love to take a ceramic course.
Oh, yeah.
So I took a sculpting course years ago, right? I don't know if I've mentioned this on
Yeah,
here.
I think you have. Oh, no, I don't think you've done it towards
I probably told you. So I took this sculpting course thinking it was going to be a clay sculpting course. I show up and they're like, okay, pick your stone, here's your pick, here's your hammer, go nuts, right? And I'm like, what? It was a rock sculpting class,
I didn't even know. You'd think that would be pretty obvious in like the description or something, because I'm sure many people were probably like, where's the clay?
No, it was just me and a lot of older women, because it was during the day. And what was funny, Nidhi, was there was no instruction. It was grab your pick, your chisel, grab your hammer and start chiseling, right? So you're like, what am I doing?
Were you in like an advanced course by accident?
No, I don't know. It seemed advanced. There was a lot of people who had been taking this course for a while and were making intricate sculptures. And I was like, chip, chip, chip. And then after a while, you sort of get the confidence of like, let's just hammer. And there was chips of stone flying everywhere.
What did you end up making?
Well, I tried to make a skull, but it wasn't working out properly. And the piece of I chose alabaster that I chose had a weird shape to it at that point. So I kind of flipped it over and made it into an angel.
Okay.
Which sounds a little bit weird, but my friend who I took the class with was making an angel, and it seemed like what she was doing was was going really well with the stone she chose. So in essence, I kind of just copied her idea, because I couldn't, at that point, my skull was not working out. And I just thought it would be humorous to go from skull to angel, so that's what I did.
Makes a good story.
Knock, knock.
Ooh, who's there?
A Boost Mobile expert, here to deliver and set up your all-new iPhone 17 Pro, designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever.
You call that a knock-knock joke?
This isn't a joke. Boost Mobile really sends experts to deliver and set up your phone at home or work.
Okay, well, it's just that when people say knock-knock, there's usually a joke to go with it.
Like I said, this isn't a joke.
So the knock-knock was just you knocking?
Yeah, that's how doors work.
Get the new iPhone 17 Pro delivered and set up by an expert wherever you are. Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms apply.
Big news! Boost Mobile is now sending experts nationwide to deliver and set up customers' new phones at home or work.
Wait, we're going on tour?
Not a tour. We're delivering and setting up customers' phones so it's easier to upgrade.
Let's get in the tour bus and hit the road.
No, not a tour bus. It's a regular car we use to deliver and set up customers' phones at home or work.
Are you a groupie on this tour?
We deliver and set up phones. It's not a tour.
Oh, you're definitely a groupie.
Introducing Store to Door. Switch and get a new device with expert setup and delivery wherever you're at.
Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com.
Boost Mobile is now sending experts nationwide to deliver and set up customers' new phones.
Wait, we're going on tour?
We're delivering and setting up customers' phones. It's not a tour.
Not with that attitude.
Introducing Store to Door. Switch and get a new device with expert setup and delivery.
Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com.
But I love taking those kind of courses for yourself. And I'm always disappointed when you take one that's kind of like, wah, wah, not so much fun.
It's true. Marco, is there anything that you used to do on a weekend, but you're like, I gotta maximize my weekend time, so I'm now gonna do this during the weekdays or weeknight?
Well, that's a great question. I try to just focus on paying bills during the week. So any sort of financial or business work, I try to do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've sort of picked those as my days to do them, and keep the weekend free of that sort of, I don't want to say stress, but that sort of activity, and keep it more lighthearted, I guess.
That's fair enough. I try and do either my laundry or my grocery shopping on the weekdays, like weeknights. Laundry because I find it, well, less so now because I have laundry in my apartment now, but when I was living in a place where laundry was like downstairs, then it just became a pain, and you always had to wait for a laundromat to be open, and so it's just easy for me to do it at any point now. But I still try and do my groceries on a weeknight because I find, on the weekends, depending on what grocery store you go to, there's less variety, or you kind of get the bottom of the barrel in terms of some of the fresh produce.
Okay.
So I prefer going on a weeknight. And also, there seems to be less people doing that. I feel like Saturday or Sunday, it's just
packed.
It's like going to Costco.
You don't do it on the weekend.
You don't do it on the weekend.
It's impossible. Now, when you talk about doing your laundry, how do you separate your laundry? Do you separate it based on colors or based on fabrics?
I am going to be really controversial and tell you that I'm very, very bad. I don't separate my laundry.
It's funny, a lot of people don't separate their laundry. I'm very persnickety with that.
Really?
I am. I'm very persnickety, but I would separate by color. And then I recently read something that you should separate by fabric type.
Sure, that makes sense.
I've spoken from someone who doesn't do either. But, so I'm really like at a crossroads. Do I separate it by color like I've been doing all my life?
Can you sub-separate?
But then it would be too small.
Small?
The batches would be too small. Like I'd be doing like...
Well, but do what's been working for you so far. I mean, I can't think...
I guess.
Yeah, I can't think that if you've been living on the edge and separating by color, might as well continue, because right now the school of thought is fabric. 10 years from now, they might be like, don't do any separation.
Right, fair. Like,
it might all change.
some people do it by actual clothing type. So they'll do all their pants, all their shirts, and all their whatever else.
I just want the laundry to be done.
There is one specific thing that I would advise you that I do is I will wash towels on their own and not incorporate them with my clothes.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about clothes. I'm not talking about, same thing with bed sheets.
Right.
Those are their own separate thing. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's the one chore that I enjoy doing is laundry.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you like
and
about it?
It's funny because I spoke to a lot of my male friends and they say the same thing. There's just something about it that I think because when I lived in New York, I lived in a 5-story walk-up. So to do laundry was quite the ordeal because you had to bring all the clothes down 5 flights of stairs, and then you had to stay in the laundromat. You couldn't just leave it and go because it was New York, and I don't know if you used to do that when you would take it to a laundromat. but it would be forced time to just sit and wait and do other things. So I would
Right.
read, or I'd be on my computer, do things on the computer, and it would just give me the time that I didn't often afford myself.
Right.
So that, coupled with the sort of weird sort of science aspect of, you know, potions and lotions and things, and mixing little cups of like bleach and fabric softener and detergent and putting in
Kind of chemist.
that kind of
kind
thing
of
is always
feeling.
kind of fun. And then, you know,
I always like doing it because it makes me feel like I have a very tangible sense of accomplishment after doing laundry.
Okay.
Like once your laundry's done and you folded it and put it away, it's like, and that laundry basket is clear.
right,
You feel like, all right, I did accomplish
your goal.
this, errand.
I like to fold my laundry
Chore, really.
while watching a program.
Yep, that's
That's my
always
fa-
fun.
yeah.
I listen to music or talk on the phone with someone. Mm-hmm. It's a very multitasking thing,
100%.
right? Like, you don't just fold laundry. There's always something else that you got to do with it. My dog enjoys laundry coming fresh out of the dryer. She'll usually sit on the laundry.
Of course, it's nice and warm.
It's nice and warm. Do you enjoy putting on clothes that had just come out of the dryer?
100%, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
I will throw on the socks that come on there, or sometimes I'll throw the sheets or towels on my wife while she's lying down because they're nice and warm, just to give her that extra little bit of warmth. I love folding the laundry while it's still warm. Mm-hmm. I feel like the things get less wrinkled when you do that.
I think that's why you're even supposed
You're
to
supposed to, right?
like, I think you're even supposed to iron them when they're hot like that.
Oh. I usually let my shirts be a little damp, so I won't dry them all the way.
Right,
and
because they
then-
come out
right.
crispier. Yeah.
That's another thing that I do.
Is there
And they
anything
say-
that you... Sorry, go ahead.
No. They say that you should not dry your jeans completely. Rather, they should be a little damp, and you hang them on a hanger so that they dry straighter.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Like they don't get as
Yeah. As like,
compact or shrinky or whatever.
I know
yeah.
what you mean. I know what,
What
you
were you
mean.
going to say?
Oh, I forgot.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's what I was going to say. Is there anything that you don't put in the dryer?
I don't put my wife's bras in the dryer.
Good thinking.
Okay. And I just wrecked 2 of her sweaters because I didn't realize that you shouldn't put them in the dryer, so I shrank them.
Oh no, the
Yeah,
worst.
Yeah, and I don't put cashmere in the dryer.
Yeah. These are all good things. Yeah, there's certain articles of clothing that I have, like dresses, that I won't put in the dryer.
Sure.
Because they are actually a little bit cottony, but I don't know if they're pre-shrunk, and so I'm afraid to
Oh, I
test them
see.
out in the.
Did you look at the label?
I did, but it doesn't say.
Oh, that
and
sucks.
they're very So I kind of feel safer not putting them in the dryer. Is there anything that you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna dry clean this.
You know, it's funny you should say that because, you know, I could get my shirts dry cleaned. But there's something about a dry clean shirt that feels or smells weird to me, that it just doesn't.
Really?
Yeah, there's something I don't like about a dry clean shirt. I prefer to do it myself.
Interesting.
Now, that said, when I was traveling for business, I would take my shirts to a dry cleaner and have them folded versus put them on a hanger so that they'd be folded into like little packets. And then they were easier to pack and they would come out
But wouldn't the lines show up?
a
on
little
it?
bit. So, but you would only have to iron them a tad in the hotel, versus like really having to iron a shirt. It would kind of be almost pre-ironed with a couple of fold marks into it, and
I feel like ironing is one of those things that actually pertains more to men's clothing than women's.
Probably we have a bit of like we have more things that require ironing.
Yeah.
Because I know even Amanda has some shirts that are button-up shirts that are really wrinkle-free, and even though men's shirts often say wrinkle-free, they still need a pass of the iron, in my opinion. But her shirts will come out, and they're a different kind of fabric. They're not like a starchy cotton. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So when they come out,
They're
I can just put it
fine.
on a hanger and they're fine.
Do you ever judge people who have wrinkled clothing? What is your, or judgment might be the wrong word. What is your first reaction when you see someone and they have wrinkled clothing?
It doesn't bother me. What I find odd is when you can tell someone's just taking a shirt out of the packet and put it on.
Oh, because it's got like the lines.
It has lines, and it doesn't. Once again, it doesn't bother me. I would never judge someone because of that. But I just think it's a little bit interesting, funny, odd. But I realize, like, I've been in situations where I've had to go and buy a shirt and wear the shirt right away because I got coffee on a shirt and I had an important meeting, or for whatever reason, right? And that's never a fun place to be in, especially if you know that there's going to be lines because you have no other alternative.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really bother me. Because oftentimes too, Nidhi, and this is one of the things that really sort of irritates me, is I'll have ironed a shirt, really pressed it, and then I have to drive.
Oh, and it gets wrinkled again.
And it gets wrinkled because of the seatbelt. And I always hate that because it's like, I'll see my boss and I'll be like, I've worked so hard to iron this shirt.
But I feel like with that type of thing, you kind of know, right? Because you can see the rest of the shirt has obviously been ironed, or like it just, like, you know that there's going to be that wrinkle in the back when people sit down. But I once had someone come in for a job interview and their shirt was completely like scrunchy wrinkled.
Right.
And
that leaves an impression.
It did, actually, and I felt bad for it, but yeah, well, you know what, actually I didn't feel bad for it because it was kind of like what I expected from the wrinkled shirt is what I got in the interview. So it was all worked out in the end. It was like, okay, this makes sense. But it's funny how some of those very, very specific things can actually make an impression, but they're also very personal because some people don't use, like, I grew up in a house where it was like you iron things, right? Sure. Some people don't.
And
like,
some people don't have irons.
Yeah. So I find it interesting.
Yeah.
It's really about how you were conditioned, like what were you,
and
like habits.
I feel like if you don't have an iron in the house, which is totally acceptable and cool, then ensure that your clothes don't require ironing. Is going to be my recommendation. As we end this episode and end our week of shows with this weekend, Nidhi, what's the last thing you do on the weekend? Like on Sunday, do you like prepare your food for the next day, or do you do anything like a ritual or something that you do at the end of your weekend? I
usually prepare some food, make sure everything's in order, everything looks nice. I like getting the week started off with a sense of like everything in my space is nice and clean and proper and ready to go.
That's great.
Yeah. How about you?
I like to watch something that I enjoy on television and just kind of like relax from the television. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed.
Nice.
And that's my weekend. And this was our weekend. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And as always, we're produced by Drumcast Productions and we're recording in Toronto, Canada. Until the next time.